Hey guys, what's going on? Skyliner Productions here. Today we're going to be covering the brand new developer Q&A in Disney Speedstorm. Now this was a question and answer from the devs, and they answered a ton of questions about the future of Disney Speedstorm. They teased a couple new racers, a brand new potential season theme, some changes to ranked multiplayer, new game modes, and a whole lot more, so you're going to want to stick around for this entire video to get all of that juicy information. Now, if you do enjoy this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe because I'm going to be releasing a ton of Disney Speedstorm content and I truly appreciate your guys' support. But anyways, without further ado, let's just hop into the Q&A. So starting off with the first question, we have some adjustments to ranked multiplayer. Someone asked if there's going to be adjustments to how the points are rewarded, and they basically said yes. There's going to be a ton of changes that are happening later this week, actually. Starting with players in Gold League and below are now going to be guaranteed to earn points, making it basically really easy just to streamline straight to the Platinum rank, which in my opinion is a great change. And they're also going to make it easier for players in higher ranks to progress, which I think all of this is great because they said it's still going to be difficult at the highest ranks, but it should be easier to actually get up there because as it stands, there's not a lot of players at all in the diamond or above ranks, and with this change, we might actually see some players start to reach the top ranks, which I think would be really exciting and cool because no one in all of Season 1 yet has reached anywhere close to the top ranks. So yeah, this is an exciting change in my opinion. The next question is, can you give a little more clarity on what resets and what carries over from one ranked multiplayer season to another? And they basically said when a multiplayer season ends, all their racers will have their multiplayer rank adjusted. Now what this means is anyone who is gold rank or above, which is MPR 11, will lose a certain amount of points and then get compensated in multiplayer coins based on how much rank they lose. So basically, the higher up you are above gold, the more points you're going to lose, but the more multiplayer coins you are going to gain. Now I think this is a good change and exciting because you get incentivized to push your racers up high and then you get rewarded in turn. Now unfortunately they also said that they're not going to let you recollect the rewards track when you get reset, which does suck because there's no way to grind those upgrade parts or shards. It's just a one and done thing in the track for multiplayer ranks, but at least we're still getting multiplayer coins, and I think overall the changes listed here are pretty great and something to look forward to make the multiplayer mode a little bit better. Now, they also said the last question about multiplayer modes is, are there any plans to add the fog or floating object races to online multiplayer modes? And they said yes, they are looking into adding the floating objects race to both ranked and regulated multiplayer. However, they did not say anything about the fog races. Now, I think this is great because as it stands, the community is not a fan at all of the fog races, but is of the floating object races from what I gathered, and I'm on board with that. I agree. I don't really like the fog races, but I do love the floating object races, and I think it would be very fun to race with them in the multiplayer modes. So that's something to look forward to as well. Now the next set of questions is about the types of characters we can expect to be added to the game in the future, as well as some teases at an upcoming season and brand new racers. And now the first one is a pretty big question. It's, can we expect non-bipedal racers in the future? This means characters like Simba, Ursula, Nala, a lot of the Lion King cast, as well as like characters from Lady and the Tramp, aristocrats, things like that. And they said yes, there are endless possibilities, and Celia May is already in the game who isn't bipedal. And this basically opens up the possibility for franchises like The Lion King to come into the game, and I think that's a very high possibility. I think characters from The Lion King are probably going to step into the game sooner rather than later in terms of characters and franchises to add, just because Lion King is such a beloved Disney classic, and so I think we can definitely expect to see Simba joining the racer roster in due time. The next question is there a possibility of seeing racers outside of the Disney and Pixar worlds in the future? And so this is really for the people who want Marvel and Star Wars to come to Villainous, and the devs said no. They're only going to be focusing on Disney and Pixar, which is a little bit disappointing, but I'm also totally okay with that. I was never super on board for the Marvel and Star Wars because I feel like the themes of that really clash with a lot of the Disney and Pixar animation stuff. Now the next question was, can we expect to see more racers from live action movies or series in the future? This is like characters like from Pirates of the Caribbean, which we already have, and they said they don't have any plans at the time, but it is a possibility in the future. So while there might not be any live action characters in the next couple of seasons, it is still something that can happen later on down the line, so all of those are possibilities for future racers. Now, the last question about new racers coming to the game was, can we expect something spooky to be added to the game around Halloween time? And they said, yeah, they're working on a villainous surprise to add to the game around Halloween time. Now, this basically confirms when Halloween rolls around, when we get to those spooky months, they're going to be adding some Disney villains to the Disney Speedstorm roster, which is super exciting because there are so many cool Disney villains to be added. And this basically confirms either a Disney villain mini event or a Disney villain whole season, because I don't think they'll just add one Disney villain. It's going to be a good few. I could see them even adding 4 or more and maybe having their own Disney villain collection. I think that could be really cool. And I think some Disney villains we can for sure expect to see are like Hades, Maleficent. I think those two are the biggest and baddest, and I think they'll be definitely be added. But there are a ton of other Disney villains, you know, Ursula, Cruella de Vil, Judge Frollo, Mother Gothel, the list goes on. There's so many. And I'm very excited for that because I am a huge fan of the Disney villains, and I cannot wait to see them being added to the Disney Speedstorm roster come Halloween time. I think it'll make for a great season. Now, the next questions were about different gameplay features that are going to be added to the game. The first one is, are there any plans to introduce additional common skills to the game? And they said they're looking at new common skills to add to the game, but there isn't anything concrete at the time. Now, I think if they do add more common skills, it'll be 1 for each class, which would mean 4 more common skills, because that's sort of what's going on right now. We have 2 common skills per class, and so I think it would only make sense if they add 4 at a time, you know, 1 for each class. But I wouldn't hold your breath for that. I think while it is a possibility, it's not going to come to the game super soon. Now, the next question that was asked is actually pretty exciting, and it's an upcoming gameplay feature. Someone asked, what are you guys working on in the future that we can expect to see? And they basically revealed 2 new game modes that we can expect to see in Disney Speedstorm Season 2, which are Color Match and Follow the Leader. Now, I'm not sure what these game modes could be based on just their names, but I'm very excited to hop into them and find out what their rule sets are, because, you know, new game modes are really exciting, and I'll be excited to see whether it's just for single player or if we'll see these modes make an appearance in multiplayer as well, which I think could be really cool. Now, one of the last questions I'm going to cover in this video is, will we ever get team races slash battles in the future? And they said that they love this idea but don't have anything concrete to share at the time. So team battles are a possibility down the road in the future, but might not come to the game very soon. So don't hold your breath for team battles, but it is something potentially later down the line that we can expect to see, which I think is super exciting. I think the idea of team battles, like just the idea alone, is incredible and super exciting. Now, there were a lot of other questions in this Q&A that I just didn't feel like covering in this video just because they aren't as exciting as or important as the questions that I covered. But yeah, so go check out the Q&A on their Discord if you want to read all the other questions. And if you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you all in the next one. Peace out.